So this is not a video that I planned on making, but since I love this game so much, I thought I might as well. There just always seems to be controversy, drama, and things going on in regards to the role of healer or strategist. And honestly, I can see both sides of this. I primarily main strategist myself, and believe me, I get the frustrations of the strategist mains and community as a whole, but I also play a lot of DPS and tank, and I also get their frustrations with strategist as well, because there are some atrocious healers that think they're doing good, and this is also a problem. It seems like a lot of strategist mains have a chip on their shoulder, and again, as somebody that primarily plays this role, and I take a lot of pride in that, strategist is in fact the easiest role when it comes to mechanical skill, but it is also the hardest role in terms of situational awareness and game awareness, because everyone's targeting you at all times. But when it comes to a strategist, it's harder to pinpoint when they're the ones throwing on your team. There is a lot of atrocious healers out there that also have this chip on their shoulder. So yeah, let's break it all down here and let's try to address all the elephants in the room, all the problems, so we can move on as a game, as a community, and enjoy this game, because this is a phenomenal game. And the devs actually listen, and it's free. And it's Marvel characters, like what more can people want? There's always going to be something to complain about, but I just really want to address this specifically. It already seems like all three roles and people that main those roles kind of band together in their own little cliques. It's like a solidarity thing or something, I don't know. You have all this drama with Necros, saying that healer is the easiest role. You got strategist mains being frustrated on how fast they can get killed in the back lines and can't do anything about it. There is very strong prejudice and stereotypes towards healers, them usually being the brunt of frustrations of other players if they're not playing well, if the game's not going well, or whatever the case may be. So as somebody that primarily mains strategist myself, but I also flex quite a few different characters, I thought I would give my 2 cents on this, because I really do feel that everyone's going about this the wrong way. Now, for full transparency, I'm not a pro player, I'm not a top 500 player. Last season I made Grandmaster. This season I've climbed back to Diamond, and I truly do think I'll make Grandmaster again. I am very confident in my abilities in this game to win games and be a good teammate in any given match. I am also self-aware that I am not good enough at this game to carry myself extremely fast up to Grandmaster or Eternity. I usually climb ranked at a nice steady pace, I solo queue, and yes, like anyone else, sometimes matchmaking isn't in your favor and sometimes it is, which is very new for me because I am new to these types of games. Hero shooters, this is the first one I've ever played where I'm actually invested in and want to practice and be good. In any given match, I want to be the best player on a team. That is my goal, and I will practice to do so, and I will continue to do so unless this game becomes unenjoyable for me. But I do feel that most people are making this game more unenjoyable than it needs to be. But first things first, is healer the easiest role? Yes. When it comes to mechanical skills of the game, healer on average is the easiest role, and I don't think there's any debate there. But again, in terms of mechanical skills, how you physically control your character, whether on console or PC, your aim, your accuracy, how agile and how much control of the character you have. Yes, I agree, healer is the easiest role, but in terms of situational awareness, healer has the potential to be the hardest role, and this only becomes more true the higher you climb, and that is something I feel doesn't get enough credit. When you're playing healer, and let's use an example, you're playing in a Grandmaster or Eternity lobby, and let's say the match is really close. Who do you think the primary target is for everyone on each given team? The healers. Who has to be more aware of everyone's ultimates, everyone's cooldowns, and know exactly what's happening around you at all times? Obviously everyone should, but healers primarily. If you're in a team fight, and you kill one of the enemy DPS, your team has an advantage. But if you kill one of the enemy healers, the fight is 9 times out of 10 considered over. Healers carry the most weight in a team fight. That is why they're the primary target. And more times than not, your healer ult is going to decide the fight. You have to use it in a strategic way to not only counter the other team's healer ults, but the offensive ults that can team wipe as well. There is a significant amount of pressure in a tight game to keep everyone alive while not dying yourself, and everyone on the enemy team is going to be targeting you. The better and more aware that the enemy team is at targeting you and singling you out, the harder it's going to be to win. Now, that's where the mindset of a healer has to change for the most part, and I'll tell you what I mean. I played a game about a week ago, and it's vividly in my mind because the two healers on my team, they were dual queuing, so they knew each other, they were on the mics the whole time. All they did all game was complain about the rest of their team. I played Magic, and I was fucking carrying the game. And it wasn't even close how much I was carrying the game. That's not me trying to brag, that's just how the match was going. And this was a competitive game, so naturally most people don't want to lose points, they want to win. The enemy team had a Spider-Man, and although I picked up right away that the Spider-Man wasn't like crazy good or anything, they were enough of a problem that the healers were complaining all match. But myself playing Magic, I was doing more damage to their backlines and even their tanks and DPS that we still pushed the payload almost to the end. The rest of my team just could not counter the Spider-Man, so when it was our turn to be on defense, I picked Scarlet Witch, and I shut down Spider-Man completely to the point where they had to change characters. Still, the healers are complaining. Then I switched to Invisible Woman, and we ended up stopping them halfway through and getting the win. But even while we're getting the winning animation, they're still complaining. Complaining that they have no help in the backlines, complaining that nobody's protecting them, complaining that the enemy keeps using their ultimates on them, and for the cherry on top, complaining that I switched to healer, insinuating that this is my fault, when subjectively speaking I've been carrying the entire match. And that's where I finally turned on my mic and said, hey, I switched to Scarlet Witch to appease you and I did my job. Then I had to switch to a third healer because you weren't getting it done. The other team tried to use so many ultimates to kill me. They knew I was the biggest threat in this game. They failed. As Invisible Woman, I dodged the majority of their ultimates. They were complaining that this Psylocke targeted them and no one protected them. And then I said right away, no, that Psylocke was targeting me. And if you keep dying to the enemy ultimates as a healer, why am I not dying as a healer? I'm able to avoid it and anticipate it. Then they didn't say jack shit after that, naturally. And I do feel this happens a lot, and it gives a bad stigma for the actual good healers out there with the right mindset. I play a lot of Magic, and I'm still learning this character. Completing her combos, mastering how she's meant to be played, how to approach a fight, is much harder than learning a healer. Same with Black Panther, and same with Spider-Man 2. As much as people hate Spider-Man, it's true. Learning how to be efficient with these characters is harder than being a healer, mechanically speaking. It's just true. So as a dive character, for example, you take pride in being able to get picks off healers. A Black Panther in your backlines that's really fucking good, and your team can't figure him out, that is somebody that's put an insane amount of time to learn how to do that. But for all the times that they have good games like that, there have been growing pains of Black Panther going 0-2 and their team going, what the fuck you doing? Their healers are not disrupted in the slightest, because a healer can look fantastic if no one's contesting them or pressuring them. It's when you get pressured by the enemy DPS and tanks, that's when you really get to see the real healers, the good ones, and the frauds. But something I never see talked about is that healers themselves should pride themselves on surviving these attacks. If you got a Captain America and a Jeff in your backlines all game, or maybe you have a Spider-Man and Venom, and you're a healer and you're able to mitigate how often they kill you while still putting out decent healing, fending them off, and sometimes even killing them, that does take skill. And that is not easy to do. And if it is easy for you to do, that's because you're a skilled player or you practiced and put a lot of work in to be able to do that. People that play strategist, and especially strategist mains, you need to start taking pride in that. Surviving enemy dives is the equivalent of an enemy dive getting a pick. If a Black Panther enters your backlines, uses their cooldowns to kill you, and they fail, that's a win for you and your team. That's you being a good healer. And yes, it is a common problem, and I see this a lot as a strategist main. Tanks overextend, DPS overextend, their situational awareness of what's going on in their backlines is abysmal a lot of the time. And sometimes, yes, you can fend off or dodge enemy dives, but eventually you will need help from your team, and if you're not going to get that help, and the enemy team keeps pushing the backline, the chances of you winning are slim. But I also don't see strategists communicating this, pinging or even telling their front line, hey, turn around, we need help. Instead, they just get mad. And you should not have to be coddled as a strategist. If the match just started and you're walking towards the point and a Black Panther kills you in the blink of an eye, this is nothing to panic about. They hit their combo. Good. You're gonna respawn, you're right there. Be aware of it now. Half the battle with countering dives is anticipation, not reacting. If I hear a Black Panther, sometimes I'll use my invisible jump, I'll sit there and I'll wait. If my teammates are not dying instantly, I have a minute to look at my surroundings and what's going on and react to it. I honestly can't even exaggerate how many times in an overtime match or a very clutch moment in the match, the enemy's about to kill me, I'll go invisible and I'll stand still and just watch. Yes, I have the impulse to start immediately healing my tanks and DPS really quickly, but they're not dying this exact second. I have a moment to look around, and usually I can see the Black Panther or Magic looking for me. They're swatting around trying to find me. Now I know this example is specific to Invisible Woman, but every single strategist, for the most part, has a way to defend themselves or counter this. Mantis and Adam Warlock, you kinda gotta just square up and out DPS. People trying to kill you, use your soul bond. Magic, you can put people to sleep. They all have their counters, but the point is, this is your time to shine as a strategist, to carry the game. Welcome the challenge, and if you fail at the challenge, that's fine. So many times it seems like healers just give up. Oh, there's a good Black Panther in our backlines, like, they've killed me twice quickly now. This isn't fun, I don't want to play healer, no one's helping me. Like, no, I would welcome this challenge. This is as hard as it gets for a healer. If you can overcome this, you're gonna elevate yourself to be that much better of a strategist. And you'll find if you welcome this challenge over and over and get better and better, you're gonna climb. Because you're gonna get to the point that really good players that usually carry their matches aren't gonna be able to kill you nearly as much. And this is going to heavily impact the enemy team and how well they do. Banning Spider-Man permanently isn't the solution. I get it and I understand it. It's the exact same thing with banning Groot. People just don't want to deal with the headache, rather than practice to deal with it. And for some reason, a lot of healer mains have this idea in their head that they're not supposed to get kills in DPS at all, or very minimally. A lot of the times if my team's not paying attention or they're not paying attention to my pings, or I'm on the mic, I'll just deal with it myself. I'll attack the Black Panther, I'll get the kill, I'll push him off the edge. I'll start targeting Iron Man and putting some real pressure on them. Because as a strategist, you're sort of playing the role of safety in football. For those of you that don't know what that is, you're essentially the last guy back. You can kind of see everything in front of you that's going on. You can see your entire defensive lineup. You can see the other team's offense, their receivers, their quarterback. You kind of have eyes everywhere, and that's the point. You're the last line of defense. If you're a strategist, use that to your advantage. Sometimes your DPS or your tank, they're in the middle of something. Maybe they're not the strongest player to begin with. This is precisely why, being a strategist, your situational awareness and game sense is paramount for the victory. It's just a fact. If you're a really good strategist, you can make a subpar DPS look great. Imagine how much more effective your Venom will be if you push up with them instead of just staying back, insisting on holding the mission area. No, push up with them. If your tank is good at taking space, enable them to do it even more. I know a lot of people got bent out of shape with Necros in his comments about how strategist is the easiest role, but for one, he's not wrong, and I get the context of what he meant, and I truly think from the way I watched the clip, he's referring to the heal bot, don't do anything but heal and blame game strategists. Not the ones that are an absolute nightmare to try to kill. I mean, the guy's one of the best Spider-Man on the planet. You think when he runs into a really good Adam Warlock or Cloak and Dagger or Invisible Woman that actually gives him a run for his money, somebody on his skill level, you really don't think he has a bit of respect for that? While in a game, of course he does. And the fact that people assume that he wouldn't be able to carry all the way to a high rank playing the role of healer is just crazy to me. Of course he's going to be able to, he's such a good player. And you know, he did prove everyone wrong. Personally, I think it's stupid what he said, but taken way out of context, he's just playing in the moment, talking to his chat. You can't really read into everything all the time on such a deep level. Lastly, I wanted to give some small tips and tricks to help yourself become a better strategist. Not mechanical skill-wise, that's on you to practice whatever strategist you use and get better, but just some mental tricks and things to note. When you're playing strategist and you get killed, watch the replay of yourself dying. See how they approached you where they came from, and monitor that. Damn well all people that play video games, whether they're very good or not, they have habits that are hard to break, and they don't even realize they're doing it. Use this to your advantage and pay attention. Because I never played a hero shooter before, I was not able to transfer over mechanical skills from like another game I played a long time, but I did play Super Smash Bros. For over 10 years competitively. I've won tournaments, I've even played some of the best people in the world and got some victories. You're probably wondering what this has to do with Marvel Rivals and being a better strategist. Well, I wasn't able to transfer over my mechanical skills from a fighting game like that. I was able to transfer over my abilities to read the opponent. Sometimes what separates the good players from the great players, because as you climb, the mechanical skill of each player doesn't differ all that much on a consistent basis. What really separates people in any role is how well they can read the opponent and understand things. Recognize right away who the biggest threat on the enemy team is. You should know this within the first minute or two and then communicate that with the rest of your team. You might assume that they all know, but sometimes a lot of the time they don't. That's why Iron Man can sometimes just farm damage and kills uncontested for like half a match till people start targeting him. If you're the first person to recognize this in any given match, and like I said, as a strategist, you kind of have a good eye on what's going on in front of you, communicate that and let everyone know. Tip number 3 is getting better at anticipating an attack, an enemy ultimate, rather than reacting to it when it's happening. If you know that Star-Lord hasn't ulted in a while, be ready for it, save your cooldowns, it's coming, and guess who it's headed for? That Star-Lord's aiming for you if you're a healer. Unless they're not very good, or they're just really trying to kill someone that's pissing them off, it's coming for you. If you can survive the majority of the enemy ults, you are essentially making them waste it, and that is crucial to getting the win. And if the enemy team is diving you, get good at anticipating it. Surviving it without needing your team as much as possible. Sometimes you need their help, it's inevitable, which you gotta communicate that. The less your team has to worry about you and protect you, the more they can go to work and do what they do, giving your team as a whole a better chance at winning. And obviously, yeah, sometimes you're gonna have teammates that are so bad it won't matter what you do. Your tanks are not very good, they're overextending and don't even realize it. You might have a tank that is useless without a healer basically on their ass the whole time heal botting them. God forbid they have to grab a health pack from time to time. They don't even bother using the environment to their advantage, taking shelter, and don't even get me started on the DPS. Half the time you don't even know what these fuckers are doing, and they'll insist that it's your fault. There is nothing worse than a DPS that's underperforming, losing their 1v1 battles, but their giant ego will not allow them to admit this, that they're the problem or maybe they should change. So blaming it on the heals is the common go-to. These are all things that will happen from time to time. You're gonna get teammates like this, block them out. Just block them out and do your best. My next tip is try to get good at outmaneuvering the other team's healers, especially when it comes to a healer ult. If you can outmaneuver the other team's healers, especially if it's one of those matches that's very close, a lot of overtimes, very close capture mission points where it could go either way, one big team battle decides who wins or loses. If you outmaneuver the other team's healers, you're probably gonna win. And try to save your healer ult for when they pop theirs. Granted, your team's not all dying on the spot, sometimes you don't have a choice. And of course, if the other team does use their healer ult, don't use yours immediately. Wait it out. Wait as long as humanly possible until you have to use it to cancel theirs completely, allowing your healer ult to outlast theirs and linger on after theirs is worn out. So many times I'll see this where the other team pops a healer ult and one of our healers will just immediately pop theirs. Essentially, you're just canceling theirs out, but also wasting yours. You don't really gain an advantage. The next tip's gonna be 2 in 1. Firstly, don't try to force yourself to be a healer that you're just not jiving with, or just isn't compatible with you, but I'm assuming most of you already have your healer mains by now. Next, it's obviously good to have some characters you can flex. If you mainly play strategist, then having a few that you can use at a higher level. Or if there's a specific character that I need to deal with, myself. A good example off the top of my head is like an enemy Iron Man. If I'm pinging the Iron Man, no one's taking care of them, my team can't aim, we're just getting beamed in the background, then I'll switch off Invisible Woman or whatever healer I'm playing and I'll go Loki. And I can usually deal with them pretty effectively or at least mitigate the Iron Man. Being a one-trick healer isn't the end of the world, but it just limits you on what you can adapt to, especially in the lower ranks because you can't really depend on your team almost ever. So yeah, having a few flex healers under your belt, never a bad option. This next tip I think is underrated and I never hear anyone talk about it when talking about strategists and tips. Knowing who's your healing priority. This is way more important in close games where everyone's about equal skill level. Let's say you're queuing into a competitive game. Your team is all pretty solid, but the other team also is. You know it's going to be a close fight. Maybe even go into overtime, and both teams don't mind shuffling around characters and team comps in order to give their team the edge. I find these matches are always the most fun and the most strategic. Because the teams are so close in skill level, it's all gonna boil down to who makes the better decisions, the ultimates, the team ups, etc. All the little details while you're playing. As a healer, then it becomes way more important to prioritize who you heal. Because in a lot of close team fights, you're not going to be able to heal everyone. Naturally, the dive characters get the worst end of this because they're in the enemy backlines, and to be honest, I will make an effort to push up and heal them, provided that it's not going to get me killed and put my team at a disadvantage. Also, flying characters. A lot of healers don't even look up to heal them. If you have a storm on your team that's putting in good work, keep them alive. Do everything you can to keep them alive. And of course your tanks. Make sure that you can farm heal on them as much as possible, enabling them to push up and take space, while simultaneously building up your healer ult faster than they do. Also, as a side note, I see a lot of Invisible Woman players throwing their force field at the enemy spawn like it's gonna do something. Save that shit for when it matters. Use it on a Penny Nest, or a Loki clone, or a Namor squid, or hell, something I do a lot, I wait and I listen for a diver to come get me. I'll throw it down at my feet, jump away, turn invisible, they're gonna peel out, and then I can go from there. A lot of people waste their cooldowns in this game, using them for no reason. This isn't really a healer tip, it's kind of a general tip, I guess. But yeah, overall, who you prioritize to heal will play a big impact on those very close games. And lastly, my final tip and the most important tip in this whole video. And this doesn't just go for strategist mains, it goes for everyone that plays this game. Have fun! One thing I've learned while playing this game is if you're not having fun and you're playing tilted or playing with the need to win, you're gonna play worse. You might not even realize it, you're gonna rage queue, and it's gonna be a terrible time. You know those matches where you get into, where you start playing, you lose the first team fight, and someone on your team is bitter, already ready to surrender? Most of the matches I've won in competitive, my team didn't start out so hot. These are people that are no longer having fun, they're miserable, they're bitter, and they need to take a break from the game. And honestly, it's to be expected because even though the vast majority of this player base and the entire game is casual players, ranging from very casual to more high-end casual, but the majority of the content being pushed out for this game is made by the top 500, a very low percentage of the player base, with very strong opinions about certain things, like how strategist is a boring, useless role, or this character needs to be nerfed or buffed, or this or that, complaining about the devs. What essentially happens is you have a few people with very strong opinions about things, and then YouTube or social media, TikTok, whatever, it becomes a giant echo chamber of these opinions of things, and it trickles down. Oh, if you're stuck in platinum for 2 weeks, you're garbage. You should quit the game. If you go on a 3-game losing streak, you're the problem. If you play Scarlet Witch, then you have no skill. You shouldn't even be playing this game, you can't aim. Like, the list goes on of negative things you could hear at any given day. People blaming each other, people singling out or blaming different roles, blaming different characters, toxic this, toxic that. What people need to understand is that this is a free game. It's a AAA free game with phenomenal comic book style aesthetic and graphics, fun gameplay, developers that listen. Want to make this game better and more fun for everyone? Did I mention it's free? There's a lot to like about this game, and it's still very, very new, with a lot of players like myself that have never played these types of games before, loving this game and trying to get into it. But it's sad to see that a lot of players will get discouraged because of shitty comments, the negative echo chambers of YouTube and other social media, all the stigmas and just bullcrap. My advice is just ignore all of that, play the game, have fun, make friends, try to team up with people if you can, try to watch your replays, learn from your mistakes, watch top 500 players that play the character that you like and main, watch what they do, and don't listen to the outside noise. If you're stuck in diamond rank because you work 9 to 5, you have a full-time job, and other hobbies, you do not suck, your rank is not inflated because you're not progressing at the speed that people on the internet tell you you should be. Just do your thing. But anyways, that's gonna end my rant. Hopefully this resonates with some people, makes them view the game differently in a more positive way to have fun and enjoy it while still getting better and taking the time to practice if that's what you want to do. I just really love this game and I want to see it grow in a positive way. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this. And as always, we will see you all in the next one. Later.